Yeah. Wow, this has been an amazing day. Would you guys agree? It's incredible day. I've got to start off with a confession, though. Okay. And I know that a lot of you here are thinking that, okay, here's a grown man in public about to admit a weakness and something that I struggle with, but I'm going to do it. I'm stepping up for guys. I've got a daily personal battle with connection and technology. Let me give you a really simple example. 3 weeks ago, I've got a 7th grade son trying out for the boys basketball team. He's excited. The month leading up to that, we practice at the park. We practice in the driveway, dribbling skills. He's ready to go. The day of tryouts, he's got school. Practice was in the afternoon. All day long, I'm teaching a leadership workshop to 200 kids in the morning. I've got an appointment with a military leader that afternoon. I bombed both of them because as a parent, I'm all in, excited about the practice, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Then the practice comes, he finishes, and boom, I get on my phone, I'm ready to text. And here's what we get. Tell my son, I can't wait to hear about conditioning and tryout. Tell me about it. How'd you do? Good. And I'm like, wait, I spent 8 hours messing things up, and I get good. I'm going to knock you out. So then I say, well, what does good mean? Pretty good. And now I'm mad. Then I say, well, how is that better than good? I get fairly good. What's going on? Now, you all can identify if you're a parent in the struggle of having conversations, yes or no. Some of you here have had knockdown battles and arguments over text, and what you said was totally not even interpreted the right way, yes or no? It's crazy. As a husband, I feel like that I compete with social media every day for attention from my wife, if I'm honest. It's a challenge. It's my 25th year of working with professional sports, the world's greatest athletes and high performers, right? Military, Olympic, you kind of heard it earlier. It's incredible. And they have the pressure to perform at an all-time high, which makes it even more challenging to connect. You see, we're in an age right now where, unfortunately, success and survival look a lot alike. A lot. And if we're not careful, the more that we continue to connect here, the more we continue to disconnect here. And as you've already heard earlier today, anxiety, depression are at all-time high. Teenage girls now struggle with loneliness more than ever before. Harvard Business Review says that 61% of CEOs in companies, the top of the chain, the best of the best, they're struggling with loneliness. Not to mention addiction. We all struggle with addiction, yes or no? We're addicted to capturing the moment. If you're on vacation, right? Honey, get back on that porpoise real quick. Let me just get that. Right? We do it. Sports parents, can you do that dunk again so I can video it, give it to a college, you get a college scholarship. You're not getting a college scholarship. So we connect, we work to capture the moment, we miss the meaning of the moment. And that's important, the way that we want to look at that. So I've got a simple way to sum up, though, our current culture. And here it is, it's the 3 T's. We chase high tech, we're drowned in high task, and we keep missing high touch. And every one of you in here can apply this triangle. If you're at work, you chase high tech. Why? We have to make our processes more efficient. And if I say, we go out to lunch with any one of you here, odds are me going, hey, how you doing? You're going to tell me, oh my gosh, life is so hectic. I'm so slammed. And now I'm thinking, well, I don't want to have lunch with you. Right? We miss high touch. In schools, even at church. Right? Simple triangle. What's going on with that? But this talk, though, is not just about the dark side of technology. There are other variables when it comes to disconnection, mistakes, guilt, shame, depression, discouragement, perfection, difference in perspective. Those lead to disconnection, right? How about self-concept? Why would anyone like you want to have anything to do with anyone like me? That leads to disconnection too. All those pieces come in. And then if we really look into the environment pieces of this, whether it's at school, on a sport team, at work, at home, There's a massive difference between the following three. I'm here, I belong, and I matter. I'm here is me just trying to fit in. That's systemic value. I belong is, oh, now I'm in the circle. I'm feeling like I'm wanted. And that's important because now I start to shape my identity. And I can now be a little bolder and a little braver. But when you matter, now I get a voice in the story that we're trying to tell together. So what's at stake, though? What's at stake if we don't get any of this stuff right? Here's what's at stake. What we tolerate, others will view that we promote. What's at stake is whatever you tolerate, others will view that you promote. There's someone in your life right now that you are tolerating the way that they treat you, and you're not doing anything about it. And all you're doing is you're promoting that behavior over and over and over again. And if we continue to tolerate disconnection, here's the problem, is that unhealthy pattern gets passed down. And the danger when we pass down a pattern is that the consequences get bigger for her and my kids and your kids. But what happens if we look at relationships through the lens of being a value engineer? How in the moment right now can I add as much value to you? How do I inject goodness into your life right now? George Pugh actually once said the biology of the human brain is hardwired to add value. In about 2006, I was a couple years in with an NFL team. I was working with the women's pro soccer team. I was traveling the world speaking. We got the physical part of preparation pretty good. But there was still this struggle with every single athlete, manager, leader I worked with up here, that they weren't capturing their championship story. And a friend of mine, Leonard, introduced me to a little-known science called formal axiology. Has anybody ever heard of that before? It's a fascinating science. Formal axiology is a mathematical-based science that is based on human values and decision-making. It measures how you think. It looks at how do you make meaning of yourself and how do you make meaning in the way you make decisions in the world around you. And the easy way to differentiate between neuroscience is to the brain, as axiology is to the mind. You got to have both. And so now over a decade of looking at patterns of hundreds of thousands of individuals and the way they make decisions, we know pretty much, looking at behaviors and motivators, there are some patterns that lead to individuals to be able to make life better, make their future better, make the world around them better. And there's some patterns that glaringly are keeping people living in their past and stuck in their present. And so I just want to take the remainder of this talk and share with you all a couple of principles that we've found from this research that can help every one of us. How many of you all have ever struggled with confidence? Raise your hand, if you're honest. That looking back, and because you weren't confident, because you didn't step up in the moment, you missed opportunity for life to be bigger for you. And the first principle that we know in performance and the way we want to live in life is that courage trumps confidence. In fact, we don't even use confidence in any of the athletes, in any of the leaders, in any of the high school, any of the administrators that I work with. It's a no-no. We don't use that. Why? Because how many times in your life have you heard somebody tell somebody else or you saying, wow, you've got all the physical tools, you could be incredible, just go be more confident. But when you say that, you make somebody worse. Confidence is what we call a lag indicator. It's on the back end. It's a result of. Confidence requires all this little momentum, you to feel a little bit better, a little bit bolder, a little bit braver, and now I'm ready to shine. Confidence requires clarity and certainty, doesn't it? When you feel certain, do you feel most confident? Right? But there are times in your life, in my life, and people that we are with, that we don't have time to go start to feel confident later. We have to step up now. And courage is a lead indicator. And there are different types of courage, but foundationally, some of you already know this piece. Courage says that what the mission that I'm on, what the story that I'm trying to tell right now in this moment is more important than the fear that I feel. And I'm dedicated to that, and I'm not committed. Committed is 9 to 5. I'm convicted to be able to tell that. And when you find conviction, courage shows up. And amazing things happen in your life and in my life when courage shows up. Principle number 2, connection trumps communication. There are hundreds of thousands of books on communication, aren't there? I want to be a better communicator. Put it beside. Better communication keeps you in high task. It keeps you in high tech in the bottom part of that triangle. Right? Doesn't get you to high touch. Let me tell you some differences between the two. Communication is me using language about what I want from you. Connection is about me using language about what I want for you. Think about language at home. It's all about what I want from you. My wife and I struggle with it. With our kids. Did you do your homework? Did you take out the dog? Did you clean up the kitchen? Right? Tomorrow, do you remember you have the X, Y, and Z? My wife and I are talking about the holidays coming up. And it's all this task, from. And that's communication. Life really isn't found. Magic's not found there. Right? Communication is when I lead with statements. Connection is when I lead with questions. The questions is where we can go deep. That's where creativity, innovation, it's the good stuff. That's where it's found, right? Communication is what I can get. Connection is what I can give. Now, here's the cool part. Connection creates the space for the word no and disagreement. And yet we can still be going in the same direction. It's about alignment. But our culture ain't about that. Our culture is about communication because communication is just about agreement. And now we don't agree, and now we're gonna part ways. And that's why we all work in unhealthy cultures. Doesn't work. Connection is that intimate moment of truth when you find out what's behind the mask of the other person. And by intimacy, I don't mean romantic intimacy. I mean intimacy, break this down. If you've never heard it before, it's a wonderful way to look at intimacy. In-to-me-see, right now. See me in a different way. I want to see you in a different way. When we connect, bigger things happen, right? See, we know this to be true. Every one of us fight a battle that we know nothing about. Every person we meet is fighting a battle we know nothing about. I had a young man spoke at a football team not too long ago, and he was the captain of the team, nationally ranked football team. This was on a Friday afternoon before the game. We spent some time together, and then he came out with his team. And he shared a story. He was willing to connect and said his mom had a drug problem. And on Monday, when he got home after practice, he got his food, he went to bed. In the middle of the night, he wakes up with his mom with a kitchen knife. She's high on crack, straddled over him, ready to stab him in the chest. 17-year-old kid. He gets her off, he comes to school, he had spent the night, every night at school, he'd have one meal a day. And the coaches now, when they realize what's happened and what's connected, what's really been going on in your life, they wanted more for him than they wanted ever before. This young man came from nothing, you know what? He went on to play football in college. He got a college education. Bring people into your circle. Who in your life needs you to be a better connector? What's at stake if you're not willing to step up and you be the better connector? But I get it. I guarantee somebody here right now is saying this. Jeremy, you're crazy. Doesn't work like that. Because the person I want to connect with, they can't handle the truth. Anybody had that? Yes or no, right? I don't want to deal with that drama. I don't want to deal with that. Some of you say, well, I want to connect with my teenagers, but today's teenagers are softer than medicated cotton. You agree with that? We hear that too. Today's kids are soft. But here's what I would tell you. I would say, but you're wrong. It's not just them, it's you. You have ownership in that too. And that connection is what allows you to build that relationship so strong that it can handle the truth. That's the power. So I want to share with you some things to try. Because I want you to create a new normal in life where life gets better for you today when you walk out of this door. Your future gets better and the world around you is going to get better. And here's number one, is to tie connection and courage to story, but not origin story. Not, I'm going to get up here and share my past. And that's important. There's a healing side to that. But I'm talking about the story, meaning what's the desirable future that you want to make real for you or someone that you love? Because that's where the conviction comes in. And that's where courage and connection show up. Otherwise, they're isolated qualities. It doesn't work. Here's number 2. How many of you, probably all of you, you know your why, right? The power of why. I got to know my why. I know probably 80% of you in here aren't even living your why, but you know it. So here's the reframe. Don't go looking for your why. Looking for your why now. Your why now is what creates urgency. Urgency is what elicits behavioral change. When I work with high schoolers, I go into the coaches and the administrators and we say, here's the deal, they're with you 4 years. And if they live to 80, they're only with you 5% of their entire life. That's why now. You got 5% of someone's life to pour into them, inject good into them so they can handle anything that life throws their way once they leave your high school. That's why you got to step up and lead, not manage, not be high tech, and not be high task. I want to give you 2 phrases for connection, okay? You'll love this. And when I tell you, I want you to think about someone in your life that needs to hear this. That's going to inject good into the life of another. You ready? It'll be fun to watch your expression. Here's the first phrase. I've never met anyone like you. Never met anyone like you. Here's the second one. My day is always better when you're in it. And the reason why I know those work is because every one of you had a big old smile. Have a big old smile. Your body language changes. You feel that moment right there like, wow, oh my gosh. Okay, now listen, if you're single, I'm not giving you suggestions to go get best on a pickup line. All right? It might work, I don't know. We want to engineer the experience. I'm going to give you 2 questions when you're around someone. Anytime you're around anybody, these are the 2 questions I want you to always ask yourself. Here's the first one. How is X about to experience me right now? If I'm coming home from a crazy day, how's my wife about to experience me? That lets me check me. That's me building my emotional brakes. No matter whether it's high or whether it's really, really low, it lets me check me. And then you got to pair it with the next question. And here it is. You ready? Who does my wife, who does X need me to be right now? You have to do both. And when you do that when you ask that second question and think about this, who does X need me to be right now? That's me putting myself in your shoes to walk in your story, but to help you and put more value into you. And folks, that's the difference between compassion. I'm not talking about empathy. That is not empathy. That's compassion. We bring that in everywhere we go. And the last one is start your day with your own story. Last week I was super excited. Oh gosh, I was working all night. I came from out of town. I woke up, rolled over, and I was setting my alarm to have a couple of extra minutes before to go to work. Just to have some conversation with my wife, have some connection. Okay? Figure that out. Alarm goes off. Whew, I get caught in social media. Now I'm in somebody else's story. 20 minutes later, I've gone. Now I'm late for work. I didn't connect with my wife. I missed telling my daughter, hey, for the day. And now I'm starting my day off behind. Nobody wins in that story. Start your day off in your story. If you really want to do it, end your day with your own story that you want to tell. The desirable future that you want to make real for you and for other people. So how do you do it? Let's wrap this up. What's the best way to do this thing called connection? And here's what I would tell you. Is to live life in such a way that if your presence doesn't make an impact, your absence won't make a difference. Parents, husbands and wives, if your presence doesn't make an impact, your absence won't make a what? It won't make a difference. At work, if you're a teacher, if you're a leader, if your presence doesn't make your absence sure as heck won't make a what? Have the courage to connect. Healing shows up when you have the courage to connect. Happiness shows up when you have the courage to connect. More highlights of your best moments are going to show up when you have the courage to connect. And that's my idea worth sharing. Thank you, TEDx.